Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Just make sure this is all good. Cool. Welcome to tonight's stream, where we're taking out the Challenger one more time. Headed out to Long Island from up here in Vermont, I think. Or somewhere up north. We'll remove the covers here. And we'll get on to moving. I will say this. The next flight, or the next stream that we're going to do is going to be in the new Bonanza in X-Plane. We've done the black square, but I really do want to fly the one in X-Plane because we can use the dual G5s, which will be fantastic. But anywho, make sure all the covers are removed, which they are on this side. Come over here. And they're all removed on this side, so that looks great. Head on up into the cockpit, and we'll get this started. So, head on up, and we'll close the door. We'll say everybody's boarded. So well, if I can grab it correctly. All right, and we'll close it, and we'll lock it. And there we go. All right, and what I will do is I will get the curtain to close up the doors. All right, and then we'll hop up into the cockpit, and we'll get this started. We'll do again an APU start. And the rest will be good to go. All right, so let's come up top, and battery master switch is on. That looks fine. If we go into the DC elect page, you can see that our bat bus is illuminated, and you can see here we have 25 volts on the bus battery. Okay, go to AC electric page, and let's go to the power fuel button on. See that the APU box is comes up, and we will start up the APU, and you can see the APU RPM is going to rise, EGT is going to rise, and we'll let the APU come to life here. And there you can see we have the blue APU box that's illuminated. And we'll see the APU avail light will come on here in just a second. There's a avail light that's on. And we'll get the APU generator on. And you can see that our APU is supplying electrical power to our buses here. And 115 volts. Oh, that is good. Come up to the up top. Actually, what we'll do is we'll start the chronometer. Oops. Start the chronometer, and we'll wait 8 minutes to get the AC/DC utility, and about 2 minutes to get the bleed air and air conditioning. In the meantime, in the overhead panel here, what we can do is get the nav light on, and I'll come up here and get the no smoking on, seatbelts on, emergency lights armed. So that looks good over there. And here's all of the tests that we can run through. But what we'll do is we'll go down to the FMC, the Collins FMC here. Go to the status page and get in the current database. And today's the 12th, I think, so that's good. Pause in it. You can see we're waiting for the RSS to align. But we'll go ahead and open up the charts, and there's the Concord Municipal. So KCON, ON, and we'll set the position to the airport for now. And we'll go into the flight plan page here. Come into the data link and flight plan recall, and we'll put in KCON to ISP and send. And we'll wait for the FMC to come up. And this page here, we'll go upper menu, and I will scroll to the checklist. And we'll do that. So let's start running through this checklist. Now that we've done our little flow there. So AC DC electrics is good, nav lights on, cockpit lights are good, lamp test is down here, and we'll illuminate it to 1, and you can see all of these are illuminated. And we'll go lamp test 2, same thing, and that looks good. So lamp test is good. FMS, that's good. Anti-skid, armed, and test as well. There it goes. Anti-skid and test. Alright, nose doors clear. Hydraulic 3A pump. Check the brake pressure, and then we'll get our parking brake. So, go into the hydraulic page, come up top, and get the hydraulic 3A pump on. And there you can see that it's opening up the valve. And we have, there's the hydraulic quantity that's decreasing, 2950, 2950. Okay, and add a little bit of brake pressure. And you can see it reduces that, so that is good. And I keep pumping it, that quantity is going to keep decreasing. So we'll set the park brake here. Park brake is set. And we'll get the rest of the hydraulic pumps on here. So we'll get hydraulic 1B, 3B, 2B to the auto page, or the auto position. AC/DC utility switch, we'll wait for that. We'll get the APU LCV and then the 10-stage isolation valve opened. And air conditioning on. Alright. And then air conditioning panel, that's fine. Pressurization panel, we'll set that. Here in Concord, also get the altimeters. Elevation's 341 feet. The altimeter's 3019. 3019. 3019. 317. It's right about there. So that is the pressurization panel. Bleed air panel is good. And then we'll test the anti-ice panel. So we'll come up here and test. Oh, well, it's kind of hard to test wing. There we go. And windshield test. Alright. So that looks good there. Emergency lights is armed. Passenger signs are good. ELT is good. That's good. Audio panels. Really all I have to do is just get the VHF2 on. And this is on. The mic selector's on VHF1. Alright, that's good. And SPS system, check on. Integrated standbys on. 3019. Set the altimeter. And let's come down here. And there's SPS, so we'll test that real quick. There it goes. Okay. And clock is good. EFIS, ECAS, auto, and get the thruster bursters armed. Okay, and we'll disarm them. Alright. And oral warning at smoke detectors. So, oral warning will go like this. Good. Okay. That's fine. Okay. And then we'll let it cycle through all of those. Okay, download flight plan.
Jet pipe overheat. Gear bay overheat. Jet pipe overheat.
17.
Gear bay
And
overheat. Duct.
ALB loves
Anti-ice
1.
duct. Air duct. Wing overheat. Anti-ice config flaps. Wing overheat. Trim. Config flaps. Config spoilers.
And then let's get the approach.
Brakes.
We'll load the approach. This is a short flight.
Autopilot.
24
cabin pressure.
ILS.
Config autopilot. Nose cabin pressure.
RNAV.
Gear disagree. Nose engine oil. Gear
Do the ILS.
Cell call oil.
Calvertron.
Cell call.
Arrival. We'll do the ILS 24. And we'll do a Calvertron. And borrow, I think, let's see, FiiO 250, yeah, we'll do borrow mens. Okay. That looks fine. You can actually see here, approach course to 239, threshold elevation. Well, the touchdown zone is 99. Threshold is 52. But we'll go ahead and step through this. There's CCC that we'll put in here and execute. Okay, and I'll change this. There we go. And we'll go format to plan and I'll zoom in here, and we'll go to MFT Advance, and there's CCC, and that comes inbound like that. Yeah, alright. Okay, looks good to me. We'll go runway 17 over. Runway 17. That's cool. Okay, anywho. And PPOS. Okay. We'll get the trims here. So we'll go stab trim 1. Actually, let me open this up real quick. Then we'll come down here. Stab trim 1. On. Alright. Channel 2 and up. Stab trim 2. Okay. Mock trim. Yaw dampener. Yaw dampener 2. Okay. That's all good. IRS's, CPDLC, TCAS, status clearance. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll head back down here. And we'll go to the pause init and set pause to GNSS1. That's good there. Go to the perf init page. 10 minutes has elapsed, and we'll get the AC/DC utility switch on. Okay, and that's good up top. Okay. What we can do now is we'll get the perf init page opened. We'll make sure that this looks good over here. Let's go to charts. Passengers, we're taking 9 passengers today. Cargo is 400 pounds. And fuel, we'll get the sensed fuel 4860, which is fine. Taking it up to 360, which is fine. Reserves, we're taking 917 pounds of reserves. And our taxi fuel is estimated to be 300 pounds. And execute. Okay, and that looks good over there. We'll come down here, and we'll get the wind update. Send that. And VNAV setup, Mach 0.78. Cruising at Mach 0.8. And this all looks good as well. Okay, and we'll go into the takeoff page. Okay, and winds 160 at 3. Outside air temperature is 19. QNH is 3019. And center of gravity trim, we'll say is 29.3. And climb gradient. So if you look, we're going direct to Albany. So what we need is the ODP takeoff minimums. Alright, so here you go, takeoff obstacle notes. And we're taking off of runway 17, so trees beginning from up to there. Okay, so if you look at this, also looks like we have our wind information in. So if you actually look at in the perf init, you can see it's about an hour and 6 to our alternate, or we'll have an hour of fuel at our alternate, which meets our IFR fuel requirements. Okay, if we look at 17 here and look at our takeoff, 260 feet per nautical mile. Oops. To 700 feet. Okay, and there's our V speeds. Engine bleeds are going to be off for departure, and we can send the V speeds to the PFD, which is over here. And that looks good over there. Alright. So that's all of that stuff good. That's our avionics set. We'll get the TCAS, radio TCAS to alt on for taxi. Departure briefing. Basically, we're departing off of runway 17, and we already put our climb gradient there. There's our ODP. Runway 35 designated calm wind runway. Our winds are coming from the south, which is why we're departing off the south. Looks like this is all aligning, and that looks good. Visual, here's the VCOA. Visual climb over airport, 1, 2, and 3, 0. And we're not doing that. Obstacle departure, here we go. Climb heading 171 to 1000 before turning left. So let's bug in 171 on the heading. Actually, it'll go quicker if I do it this way. 171. Okay. To 1,000 feet before turning left. If we look in our legs, I don't know if we can do that. Let's see, load ODP Collins FMS. I'm actually curious if this even has an ODP option, because if I do 17, it doesn't have an ODP thing in here, so I don't know how we can do that. If we can set a vertical, set vertical. I don't even know if we can do that. It'd be cool if we can, but I mean, I don't know. Anywho, let's go back into the fix. Oh, here we go. You can actually go into fix lat cross long along the track ETA, radial, a beam. I think what we'll do is I'll just put N1000 into the scratch pad to let us know that we can do that. We'll climb to that before turning left on course, and we're climbing up to 360. So we'll put in 360 in the altitude. Alright, 360 set. Fine. Alright. And we'll go into the engine start checklist. Doors are closed, parking brake is set. We'll verify that. It's pulled out and set. Park brake is set. Fuel quantity is good. Beacon and... Okay, so we'll get the beacon on. And fuel boost pump switches on, and then the ignition armed. So here's the fuel boost pump switches are on, illuminated. We'll go ignition B, armed, illuminated. Okay, and then we're ready for engine start. Alright, so let's go to the... I have the lower menu on the AC/DC electrical page. Start up engine number 2. Once we get past 20% N2, we'll advance the fuel to the idle position, or the throttle to the idle position. So, anywho, up here looks fine. Yeah, let's go ahead and start the right engine. Start switch comes on. N2 is rising, and passing through 20%, and fuel can come in. Alright, here you can see Concord to Long Island, and all looks good. Great. Okay. Engine number 2 is starting up. Alright. Right engine is good and stable. We'll start up engine number 1. Same thing. Ignition on. Start switch on. Left right bleeds. N2 is rising. There's 20. And fuel. Lovely. Very simple taxi. We'll just taxi out like this, and then we'll be good to go. Alright, good engine start. And we'll go into the after start checklist. Okay. Have this opened up. Engines are stabilized. Okay, we'll go generator 1 on. And you can see they're yellow and they're going to go green, and we'll supply 115 volts. There we go, and this is tied. That's going to power bus 1 and bus 2. And we'll disarm the... Okay, and then we'll disarm the ignition switch. 14th stage, bleed air. And that looks good to me. So that's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Cal anti-ice on, check 45 seconds. Cal anti-ice on. And we'll start the chrono for 45 seconds. Do a quick flight control check. We'll check the ground spoilers, stow them, move them to the auto position, and then check the flight spoilers, and then stow them. So here is the flight spoilers, and here are the ground spoilers. Okay, so here's the chronometer. I'm actually going to start sipping on my Diet Coke here. This aircraft is really awesome. I've really gotten back into X-Plane after flying in Microsoft. Once X-World Pro comes out, it's going to be a literal game changer. Okay. And Cal anti-ice switch is coming off. Okay, so we'll check the flight controls now. move it into the flight controls. Oops. Elevator, ailerons. Okay, rudder. Okay, looks good to me. And nose wheel steering is not armed, so I'm not going to test that just yet. Okay. Flight controls are good. We'll check the ground spoilers. So we'll go to the arm position. And again, you can visually see this out here. But oops. And then we'll put it to the auto position. Now you have the flight spoilers, which are here. And I actually have it bound, so I'm going to make sure that this goes here. And you can see I can move it to the max. And there's the flight spoilers that extend. And I can retract the flight spoilers. And all of this retracts. And that looks good there. So that's flight spoilers, ground spoilers. And then it's fine, that's fine. Trim set for takeoff. Takeoff trim is 4.6. We'll go nose down. There's 4.6. No steer armed. APR. It's fine. Anti-ice is fine. N1 takeoff on the auto throttle system. It's like this. N1 takeoff. Toga. We'll have it out on, and then we'll move it to TARA when we're lined up. Checklist complete. Taxi checklist, taxi lights on. Anti-ice is off. Brakes fine. Reverse thrust check. So we'll actually arm this real quick. And I do not know why that went. AMD auto update. Okay, reverse thrust. Oops. Actually interesting that my there we go. I was like, what the hell? Okay. Here. And that's good. Okay. Little finicky, but we're good. Okay. Thrust reversers are off. Flaps set 20 degrees. Altimeter set. Radar weather on. Weather radar on. Takeoff briefing. Taxi checklist. Before takeoff checklist. Okay. Let's come back down to the pedestal. We'll go index. Release the parking brake. Start our taxi. Taking off of runway 17. We'll open up the airport chart. Very short taxi. Alright. It's kind of weird how the FOV gets all kinds of messed up with X camera on the Challenger. But yeah. All right. Okay, and then this is this is 1.7 right here. Where's the whole short line? Oh shit. Okay. Alright, we'll ignore that incursion. We'll get the landing lights on, those lights on. I'm holding on the brakes here. Okay, anti-collision light. I think this guy got it for me. Probes and windshield heat. So we'll go probes on, windshield heat to low. Okay, takeoff config. Okay, it's fine. Continuous ignition and then TARA. continuous ignition, and radio TRA. Okay. And that's fine. Takeoff, okay. Before takeoff, checklist is complete. Alright. Let's taxi to hold short here. And we'll make sure that the thrust reversers are armed now. And we'll get the hood up. And we'll taxi to the runway here. So notice that this is in takeoff outs mode. Couple things I want to do right before I take off here. And the wind's coming straight down from the runway. I want to go to the perf page and make sure that this is set to takeoff and the engine bleeds are off. The next thing I want to do is I want to enable nav mode. And because I think if I go VNav here, it's not really going to do anything. I think it's vertical speed now. This is in pitch. We'll move it to 8 degrees of pitch. Speed, because if I go to level change, we'll do, let's just say level change 231, which is our flap extension limits here. Okay, so I'm going to slowly advance the throttles. We'll get it to about 50% here. Engine looks good, stable, and I'll advance it to our takeoff power. ATS should come on here. Which it doesn't. Nope. Oops. I know why. Oh my god. Alright, positive rate of climb. Gears up. It's because I should have left it in toga mode. Oops. Alright, and passing through 1,000 feet, we can start a left turn on course. Flaps coming up.
Go around thrust set. Positive rate.
Well, I kind of fucked that up. That's my bad. Okay. Autopilot engaged. And disarm this. Pax transition. So this is inhaler, generator, okay, passing through 10,000, start, stop, okay, and climb thrust, speed's 260. VNav 0. Sloppy takeoff, but hopefully the landing goes better. Seatbelt signs off. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot that happens in this aircraft. There's just a lot to monitor, but there we go. Alright, look at that climb rate. I mean, that's absolutely insane. And there's flight level 180, standard pressure. Turn on our headset so it's less loud. So you can see here's our top of climb, and then we literally get to Albany, and then we start our descent down, which is crazy to me. But let's get the range. I'll leave this on thrust limit. All right. Let's climb out. Oops. Alright, since we're basically going straight to the arrival, let's start briefing that up. Here's Long Island, and arrival, and we're doing the Loves 1 arrival. Okay, so with the Loves 1 RNAV arrival, move here, we're going to go to the Albany VOR DME, and we'll take it to Athos. And then we'll go to Pollen, Loves, Igor, Calvertron, fly over point, and then a right turn to Coram. So that'll feed us into the ILS. If we look real quick, altitudes, CCC, Calvertron, there really is nothing, but we do want to be at or above 2,000 at Coram, and at or above 1,400 to intercept, for a glide slope intercept. As you can see, yeah, okay. Yeah, because here you can see Coram, and there's Ukegi, which is right here. But yeah. Okay. That checks out to me. And I don't think that I have positive sense. That's fine. Got to make a really nice left turn here. Alright, battery to our top of climb. And then we're about to start our descent. Let's get this to the descent checklist. Pressurization. Look at Long Island. 3022 in the altimeter. Quite a good high pressure system dominating that region. Oops. So 3022 would be kind of like right around there. And their elevation is 100 feet. So it's also like that. Okay. Cool. Let's see, what else can we do? Airport info. Yeah, we got 3 people, hopefully, watching. Huh. So we're taking the ILS 24, so landing runway 24. Let me open this up in ForeFlight real quick. I want to see what FBO we're gonna go to. Long Island. So Modern Aviation ISP North is over here. New York Jet Center is south. So we'll take the south FBO, which looks to be right here. It's off of Alpha 1. Coming in on 24, so Alpha 1, and that'll take us straight in, so a left. So that works out quite great, honestly, if we can land and take it to Alpha 1. That'll work out lovely. Okay, top of descent here is in 10 minutes. And that looks good. Alright, cruise thrust set. Fuel quantity balance, FMS program. The other thing that we can do is set the nav frequency to the approach frequency, which is 108.3. So we'll do that. And we can transfer that. It's actually cool. If you click in, you can change it more specifically. But anywho, oh, look at that! That's actually really cool. Holy shit! I did not even know that. Oh my god! I wonder. That's insane. I didn't even know that this thing had that ability to do that. Anywho, I do need to transfer this though. I, for the life of me, am blanking on how to transfer right now. Oh, frequency transfer, there we go. Okay, so let's actually, I want to explore this. So, if I go to the COM radio page, squelch frequency, okay, that makes sense. There's that nav. Here is the TCAS control page. ATC 1, 2, ADC, flight ID, TARA, norm. Wow, that's really nifty. Really nifty. Oops. Then you have COM 3, COM 2. So that's pretty cool. I didn't even know you could do that in this aircraft. But we'll go ahead and reset our altitude down to 2,000 feet. It's going to change to VALT mode to hold our current altitude. And VNAV is engaged so that when we approach the top of descent, we'll follow the advisory VNAV down to 2,000 feet. We also need to get the minimums, borrow minimums to 299 MSL. So we'll put that into the refs page and go borrow. And borrow minimums is 299. So we'll set 300. Borrow mins are set. Oops. So with that, we'll brief the approach.
Unable to find view
okay.
ID 14.
We'll brief the approach real quick. So, once we get to Calvertron as our initial approach fix, we'll make a right turn to heading 279 to Coram, our intermediate fix, that we will reach at or above 2,000 feet, and step down to 1,400 feet to Ukegi, which is our final approach fix, to intercept the glide slope that will follow down to our minimums of 300 MSL, at which point, if the runway is not in sight, we will execute our missed approach by, let's see here, climbing to 2,000, then a left turn on heading 100, inbound on the 221 radial from Calvertron, or 041 course, and then we will hold at Calvertron. It's left-hand turns, and coming in from the southwest, what we can do is we can expect a parallel entry and 2-minute holds is what it should be. Okay, aircraft not GPS equipped, radar required. So notes 2, autopilot coupled approach, not authorized below 800 feet. So, at 800 MSL and above, we'll fly it manually down. VDP is 1 DME from Erkson. So, yep, 108.3 Erkson. Alright, and 5 minutes from our top of descent. So that's our approach briefed. I can open this up here. This is all set. Approach briefed, VNAV, and then descent checklist. This is the in-range checklist. That's basically starting up our APU, and then we'll start the chronometer when we start our APU. So that once it's basically past 2 minutes, then we'll do the bleed air transfer. Okay, so coming up to Albany here. And another thing is, if you look at the approach, and we're doing the ILS, if you do look at the localizer, you know, our minimums revert to 520 feet. And our time to our missed approach point, we're traveling at, let's say, 120 knots ground speed. So just at about 2 minutes from our final approach fix to our missed approach. So we'll start the timer once we are at our final approach fix. Okay, lovely. You can actually put in the chart in this page and literally load the Navigraph charts onto the MFD, right? Yeah, onto the MFD. So I think that's really cool feature. And there we go. We'll be starting our descent down here just any second now. Well, we're about 12 nautical miles. Mr. Sex of Pete. And path is armed, so you can see once the TOD drops to 0, we'll follow our VNAV path down on in. There we go. And there's VNAV path. It's going to start pitching down. And Mach 0.72 is the targeted speed. So you can see the throttles are coming back down. And I'll get a little bit of flight spoilers out to decelerate ourselves. We'll continue on in. Retract speed brakes. All right. All right. Let's go ahead and go to the perf menu, go to the approach, and we'll start loading up the approach information. Okay, make sure we're on the latest weather information. Calm winds. Outside air temperature is 21 degrees. QNH is 3022. Alright. And we'll leave this the same. Alright. And our approach engine bleeds will be off. Our engine bleeds will be off when we're on approach. Send that to the PFD. And if you go into, go into refs, there you can see. I am going to get the synthetic vision on. On both PFDs here. Oh, the other thing that we can do, you see this is preset nav. The other thing you can do is yeah, we'll just leave it like that. One thing I do want to do though is over here go into the overlays, or not the overlays, well, move that on. But we'll go into the map symbols and we'll get this on and we'll get the ETA on. I do like it when it looks like that. You have the radar button. Okay. See that the cabin altitude's depressurizing pretty slowly, but it is nonetheless depressurizing. Once we're below 15,000 feet and about 10 minutes from Long Island, we'll start up the APU. And then 2 minutes later, we'll get the bleed transferred. So that looks good to me. Alright, it's about to pass through flight level 180 here in just a moment. Not the speed. I meant to do heading. Oops. Meant to sync the heading. There we go. Heading synced now. Great. Alright, passing through flight level 180, altimeter 3022, 3022, and 3022. Nice. Alright, passing through clear level 160. Seatbelt sign coming on. And we'll start up the APU. So power fuel on. 250 knots is fine. And look over here, it looks fine. Start up the APU. APU is firing up. Alright, in-range checklist. APU is started. Altimeters set, cross-checked. Avionics set, external lights on. Okay. N1 target. We'll get this to the approach mode. Alright, set. APU PAX transition. APU RPM is 100. We'll start the chronometer, and then 2 minutes, and we'll get the PAX transition on, and then the generator on. Okay. So this says localizer will be interesting. But you can also see that it's the N1 target. But it says engine bleed 10th, and it's in the APR mode. And then we'll do the transfer, and we'll be good. All right. So yeah, this is preset 1 nav, or sorry, localizer 1, 108.3, and then we just need to set the course to 239. Which is set. Okay, so that's set. Here you can see the flight plan. Here's CCC. There's some land coming up. Coming up on 2 minutes, and that means that we can go ahead and do the PAX transition here. Okay. All right. That's good. And then APU gen on. Gen on, and I'm actually curious what the ACLI still has the bus tied. And there you can see engine bleed off and APR. CAS is checked. In-range checklist is complete. Before landing checklist. We are about 3 minutes from Calvertron, so we'll just run through the before landing checklist. Landing gear, lever, we'll keep it up for now. No steers, arm, anti-skid arm, master signs is on. Yep. Continuous ignition on. Okay, arm. Thrust reversers, arm, spoilers, stowed and auto. Auto. Flaps set, CAS, alright. There's our after landing checklist. Okay. And ground spoilers, we'll arm those as well. Alright. Looking good. And I will reset the altitude select to 1400. Okay. And this you can see is essentially our almost like a bearing pointer, which is actually really, really cool. Okay, there we go. And CCC is a flyover point, so I'm not too sure what this is doing, because it's kind of cutting it short here. Yeah, because now we're super high.
2,500.
So not too sure what this FMS was doing. Still didn't overspeed the APU, but Jesus Christ. I don't even know what this is doing. Okay, go gear down. I'll keep my spoilers where they're at. Bunch of flaps, spoilers retracted. Flaps 25. So that was a really shitty approach. We were supposed to fly over Calvertron. I don't know why this didn't do that. If anybody knows, please leave it in the comment section below. Okay, approach. There's a glide slope. We'll say 133. We'll dial that down. 133 and 1,700 MF, MSL. 189 is the last one, so we can go flaps full here. Alright, flaps are full. And that looks good to me. I'll get this up. Okay. That is fine and dandy.
$1,000.
Procedure not authorized for arrival on CC Calvertron VOR airway radials. 193 clockwise. Oh shit. That when we land, I'll have to figure this out. Okay, let's disconnect the auto throttle here, since our coupled approaches are not authorized for that. And disconnect the auto throttle system. All right. I have a feeling that that was exactly why. All right.
500.
Okay. Keep it right over there. It's fine. Have a little bit too much
Approaching
energy.
minimums. Minimums.
Okay.
100.
Runways in sight.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Oof. Alright. Reversers, speed brakes. Looking good. Speed brakes are retracted. Whew. Alright. Coming up on Alpha 1 here. Alright. Okay. And this is quite literally where we're parking. But we'll retract that and we'll go. This is good. And auto disarm these guys. And we'll be good to go. Here's the jet center. And landing lights off, nose light off, and this has got the rest for me. Cool. Alright. There's where we want to park this at. And ignition switch off. And come down here. Hit this. Let's clear the ATS message. Okay. And windshield heat and probes off. Alright. And we'll park you. Alright, let's take a look at the replay here. And then we'll go ahead and look at the we'll get it shut down. A little bit of a float there. Let's take a look. Could have been better, could have been worse. Alright, and let's do one from here. Not the world's worst landing. That was the world's worst approach. I can tell you that much. But yeah, anywho. Let's pull the parking brake. Alright. Lights, recog lights off, park brake set, reverse thrust stowed, Gen 1 and Gen 2 off, engine 2, engine 1. And then fuel boost pumps, and then we'll get all of the other stuff off. Okay. Okay, and we'll come up top, beacon, leave the hydraulics on, fuel boost pumps coming off, 14th stage, bleed air, we'll off that. Okay, and we're good. So we'll open up the... I actually wonder if I can even push it back on anything. This is the jet center, but anywho. Come down here. Get this down. There, we'll unlock and open that out. I do want to see. I'm curious. Not authorized for arrivals on VOR Airway Radials 193, clockwise 326, and we came in 147. So that's what makes me curious as to if we were going 147, I don't see why this would not... Well, this is not a 147 radial from, this is a 227 radial. Shit. Well, it's a 227 radial from Calvertron, but this usually is supposed to be a course, right? R221 is a radial for... Oh, that's probably why then. Yeah, because this course of 147 is a 227 radial, which would mean that this approach is too sharp of a turn. So we need to fly over Calvertron and then vector ourselves in to intercept the localizer. So that is what we did wrong. Which is good to know. So you live and you learn. It's the beauty of flight sims. You can make those mistakes in the flight sim. And, yeah, that could have been catastrophic. But, that explains it. I guess I gotta get used to reading Jeppesen charts as well. But, I mean, you know. You live and you learn, so we'll definitely not be doing that next time around. But anywho, thank you for stopping by and saying hi. I'll catch you all later.